I want to break down your invisible pricing barriers so that you can make that decision with way more confidence. Because often we do want to make the decision, but then sometimes we then like to stay in confusion, right? So if you want help breaking those invisible pricing barriers down, then you've got to listen into this today, because I'm going to share the 3 ways that I know that are going to help you overcome your pricing fears and break through those invisible barriers, right? Or it's really just one invisible barrier or a ceiling, right? Where we think, okay, like if I went over this price, it's going to be way too much, but often we don't know why, but I'm going to get to that in a minute, right? And because it is common for us to pursue that price certainty. My biggest freebie is a coach pricing matrix. That is by far the most popular lead magnet that I have, and the lowest cost one on ads as well, because it's the first thing that people are thinking, well, what do I charge? Now that I'm in business, or I've been in business for a while, what is everyone else charging? Like, we always kind of want to look outside ourselves to know what the right number is, to just remove some of that confusion. There's a resistance that goes alongside that question and that searching, or you believe that there is a right price to charge that you don't know about that everybody else does. It's automatically going to make everything work, right? Then that resistance totally comes up as well. You end up with this inner conflict, where pricing inner conflict comes from a belief that that barrier to charging more is real, that the belief that we can't charge more is actually a certainty, right? Because that invisible barrier or the concept seems totally justifiable and real, right? And it's often because of those 5 common pricing fears. They're the ones I'm going to talk about today. So let's talk about those 5 fears. The first, of course, is that negative backlash or judgment. You're going to get that either from your audience, your peers, or feel like you're going to be seen as greedy, you're going to be seen as, arrogant, too cocky, selfish, chuck any other words that come to mind for you, or worse still, that there's no way that you're worth that price that you're going to put out there. The second big fear is that you'll have to work way harder than you're already working hard, right? And so you feel like, well, in order to charge more, I'm going to have to offer more, I'm going to have to deliver more, and I'm already working really, really hard. But no, for me, that was a reason why I dialed my prices back. In that I was really exhausted. I was signing clients at a high level. I was delivering. It was an intimate mastermind that I had at that time, $25,000 to join for a year, and I also had ads clients. It was doing a good, I think by then, about $500,000-$600,000 in revenue. But I was doing so much of it myself, and I was super tired. It was a lot to hold energetically, and I actually was quite comfortable with my pricing, right? It wasn't a matter of charging more, it was a matter of going, well, actually I'll charge less, so I have to do less. But that's also the wrong angle, right? Because in fact, you end up having to do more, and often you get clients that are nowhere near as good. So I'm not here, I think I've always said to you, if you have followed me, that I'm not here to say, okay, charge more just for the sake of charging more, or, high ticket, everybody should do it. But I do feel like pricing is one of those momentum drivers that you can really, really use to have a lot more elegant efficiency in your business. It also allows you to expand at a quicker rate without as much fear, because you can reinvest and you have more of that kind of capacity, and a great capacity to serve more clients too. So I have always enjoyed having a higher ticket business model, but I have played around with lots of different price points as well. And at the moment, you can buy my webinar course, that's $37. You can buy my ads course, $47, right? So my email activate program is killer, that's $97. So I have low ticket prices. Third is that you're going to tank your sales and your conversions, right? And break what's working. So if you've already got some clients saying yes, our brain wants to say, well, that's already working, even if it means that we're fully booked, or we're over delivering, or we're stretched to capacity, right? We often want to believe that, well, we can't break it But the interesting thing there is that the most common way that coaches break their offers is not by raising their prices. Like, that's our biggest fear around pricing. Oh, well, then people won't buy. But then so many coaches, and I've done this myself too, end up in that like stretch capacity, feeling like tired, or feeling less than excited about their offers because of that energy drain of the delivery, that then you want to change it, right? And you think price will alleviate that, right? And then sometimes you can have the flip side too, that you think that increasing the price will definitely solve all your problems. And generally it does solve a lot more of them than decreasing. Sometimes, yeah, you'll see a bit of a dip. And also it's really interesting that if you have had some fears and you don't fully work through them, that those fears will be clearly articulated back to you. Like, it's almost verbatim. The loop or the belief, the thought in your mind comes back to you in an email, a response, a call you have with a client. They say exactly what you've been fearing. So yes, of course, conversions can dip with a price change. But then you've also got to look at the metrics in their entirety, how that affects your profitability. So the fourth big reason is that then you think your marketing is going to be way harder, right? So if you think, if I raise my prices, I've got to get so much better at my marketing. Or the common thing I hear is, but I don't have those people in my audience, or I don't have enough of an audience, I don't have a big enough audience. And then that's a bit of a faulty fear, right? Because the thing is, when you're charging more, you have more capacity to reinvest and acquire new clients. And the way I've always been showing my clients to start acquiring more clients, or a better, more targeted audience, is by using really targeted lead generation, mainly with Facebook and Instagram ads, which is a beautiful way to build a targeted audience really, really cost effectively. You'll often need fewer conversions to even radically increase your revenue, but also increase your enjoyment in your business, because you have more capacity for for going deeper with your clients as well, which is. And the fifth is, why change it? Like, too hard, I just want to stay in my comfort zone, so you don't do it, right? And this is a little bit the same if you're already rolling with things. Now, if you're a coach who who just wants to start growing your business, and you're like, but I just don't know what to charge, like what's the right price to charge, all of that. Some of those fears will still be coming in, but I am mainly talking to that one where you need to raise what you're already doing, okay? So these fears may not apply to you if you haven't yet started getting paying clients, or you're thinking about it. At the beginning of your journey, it's actually a great time to start charging more, because you're going to have way more confidence to do it. So how do you know you can raise your price? Because that's what your logical brain will go to. But hang on, this might be the most my audience will ever pay. This is the maximum my market is going to meet. Nobody else is charging more than this. And the answer to that is basically you don't know, right? You can't know 100%. I mean, you can look to what else is out there and you can test, but there's no one source of guaranteed prices that will work. Like in my pricing matrix, I give you ones that I've seen work time and time again, but then sometimes people will adopt those prices and then they don't convert, and maybe they double them and they do. It's really interesting, and it does depend on your audience, your market, and how strong your offer is. Like, that's really the key determinant of how you can price, because price doesn't become the decision maker for your client or you. And although, we take comfort in wanting to know and decide and know it's absolutely right, playing the pricing game actually means that you need confidence in your value, okay? Even if you don't have evidence for that. So it's a belief game, not a numbers game, right? I mean, obviously business is a numbers game, metrics are really important, but in order to go up, you won't have anything totally confirmed, and of course we hang back until we've seen evidence that works. Sometimes it's inspiring that we see evidence that somebody else has done it, but just be careful about that too, because you can't see, just as you can't assume your audience won't pay a certain price, right? Because we don't know their bank details, we don't know what they're prepared to pay for. And the other thing is, you can't assume when you see someone else talking revenue figures or prices that they charge, what it costs to acquire a client at that price. I've only seen a few people publicly talk about the cost of acquisition in the coaching world, particularly if they're using paid traffic to scale. And I think they're super brave, because it needs to be said, because it's the price that you charge and the revenue that you generated from a launch is one side of the coin, okay? The other side is what it costs to acquire those clients, particularly if you're expanding your audience. So just bear that in mind. I mean, one of my clients last month generated $1.014 million in 1 month in revenue from one offer. But look, I mean, we spent $70,000 on ads. How do you have the confidence in the face of one or more of those fears without the knowing, right? Without the how-to, without the assurity? Well, you have to decide that you'd like to. Just because you'd like to. That might be a big enough reason that you'd like to. And it doesn't mean that you're locked in or you have to, but you just want to have a willingness to move forward, to explore and trust that you're willing to take enough action and discover it, and nothing bad is going to happen. But aside from that, we first want to get to the heart of some of these beliefs that actually lead to you believing there is this barrier, and keeping that inner conflict of not deciding or staying in confusion or thinking someone else has the answer, and investing in programs that don't really help you and distract you and lead to you breaking your offers or adding more to your plate or confusing your audience. Here's the three strategies that I promise you. Firstly is listing the reasons why you haven't changed why you haven't lifted your price, why you haven't raised your rate yet, or better still, why you think you can't. Okay, one at a time. Like it might be for me, it was like, I'm going to have to work harder, or I'm not as good as XYZ. Like, name the other person if you're in that like comparison vortex, right? Of thinking that someone else is better than you. Really check in with a lot of those beliefs. I had a lot of long held beliefs about what it took to charge a certain amount. Then after you have each one of those, I want you to ask the boring thing of why. It's best to write these down yourself. This is the belief. Then go why, or you could ask so what, or the old Byron Katie, is it true, or is it really true, right? Go down again and write the answer. Don't skip over it. Write the answer and keep going. If that's coming up, you can still ask why a few times. You can still ask, is it true, a few times. But pay attention, whatever those answers are, they'll be your key beliefs that are stopping you from deciding or keeping you in that pricing inner conflict, okay? So I'd like you to list the top 3 and then ask yourself about those top 3. What would you offer, or what would my business look like without those beliefs? What would I charge without those beliefs? The second strategy is your 2-step offer of having an initial easy to say yes to offer that might not have the scope of what your current offer is, and it's just easier to move through, and it's a lower price, it's more informational, situational, easy to get people a quick win, so that then they can naturally come up to the other offer with more scope that is more transformational. So rather than trying to sell the big transformation up front and getting a lot of like sticker shock or price resistance, and then either charging too little and still delivering it, or tanking your conversions because your offer's too big at the front end, then it's great to get that easy to say yes offer that, like I said, a bit more informational. Generally it sells for between 2K and 5K. An example of something like this is, like, say you're wanting to promise people to lose weight. We know that that takes time, and it can be really challenging and discouraging. Like, what you really need to know is not the sexy part, or what you really need to do. Like, keep on going when things are hard, and you have to be determined and committed. But when you think about like intermittent fasting, or like, you know, the Michael Mosley's Fast 800, he gives people like parameters and a template to follow that you can see results quickly with. It may not be everything that they need to get through that over a longer time or keep the result. That's what you do in your higher level offering. So once you have the clients in that first step offer, you can use a relationship, connection and results to invite them into that second level offer. Now your 2-step might be not a 2K to 5K, maybe you have a lower price and then you move them up. That's fine too, but it's still that, like, what's that easy to sell offer that we can get them in on, and that like obviously really helps our lead generation, our confidence, and our ability to have another opportunity that has 0 price resistance. And then comes to the third key, which focuses on sharing your value, showing up and generating that demand that will make the price irrelevant because you have an offer that is so good. The right people just will easily say yes to. Let me know what you think. All right, guys, take care. Love to hear your thoughts on this, so please message me if you don't want to post it. Okay, take care. Bye.